So welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. So somebody emailed us and asked, "Hi Terence and Beth, just watched your video about Alfred and Terence meet in the market. So now the last time I saw him on the video, I'm just worried about him, because it seems like he's not into good health condition. So Terence, how was his health conditions?"
Well, honey, you wouldn't listen to me, but I did say that I already made a video on this.
Okay.
However, now that we've had another question.
How old is Alfred, by the way? 70,
Well,
60, right?
I put it as 67
Yeah, so
last
67,
time. Could it possibly be
68.
77?
No, I remember she's 65 before. 64. So maybe she's still in 65.
Right.
But because he is a smoker, so that's another thing.
And he is still a smoker, and of course, look, it's not an unusual thing for someone to be hard-headed in the Philippines, is there, darling?
Yeah.
Right.
So the other thing that I noticed, the foreigner that is really working like a smoker and smoker, they are very, very kind of a little bit.
Very a little bit.
Kind of.
What?
The smoker is really make it very, very old. Looks like you old, right?
Well, the
There
danger if you're a smoker is of stroke, because it's going
health
to
condition.
supposedly nowadays I don't know what to believe, but supposedly it means that you are liable to a smoke. And I recognize the signs. I actually worked for someone a long time ago in the UK, and that there's a kind of a ruddy glow to the face, and it usually is accompanied by being at least moderately overweight. Now, Alfred is not overweight. In fact, he is painfully skinny,
Yeah.
but he does smoke a lot, and he can't be told. He can't be told anything. The fact is though, that Alfred is actually a very intelligent man, but because he's hard-headed, he's opinionated. He has his own opinions. He makes his own judgments, and he doesn't suffer fools gladly. And he thinks that a lot of people that he meets are fools. So, as I explained the last time, one of the reasons that we disagreed was because Alfred he went through a phase, at least, he seems almost to be out of it now, but he went through a phase where he thought that because we were bringing people to meet him, that we were treating him like a kind of a caged monkey. Come and look at our pet monkey, and we take him to see Alfred, which couldn't be further from the truth, because the people that we took to see Alfred wanted to meet Alfred. And so actually he was being admired, but he didn't see it that way, and he's a difficult man to persuade. So that was how he stayed.
Because a lot of foreigners that we met is really admire
This is fried chicken.
They really
And here's what
admire
the food panda-
how Alfred the life of Alfred came to the Philippines without knowing someone, right? So that's why they're interested about him, because Alfred came to the Philippines without knowing who he came, except us.
He didn't know anybody. Well, he didn't. He only knew of us.
He only knows us online, and in fact, we didn't have communications with him.
No,
He
none
just
at
suddenly
all.
showed up on our doorstep at 7 o'clock in the morning. And good thing is the tricycle driver asking at the road and
Well, it was
pointed us to us.
You've forgotten the other incredible coincidence. He only recognized from videos. He recognized the Baboy Bridge, and the Baboy Bridge is about the nearest bridge to the turnoff for where we used to live in the mountains. So he he went. Let me see. Did he go from at the Baboy Bridge? He knew that it wasn't he was looking for the bridge that we built in the mountains. So they happened to see a man passing on a motorcycle, and they stop him and say, "Do you know where Beth and Mr. Terence live?" And he said, "Yes, I do. Actually, Beth is my sister."
I remember now.
So it was an incredible coincidence. So the first we knew was a knock on our door at 7 in the morning. I think actually it was earlier than that. And it was Nanai sending one of the kids to say that someone had come to meet us.
Yeah.
And it was Alfred.
And then Alfred said, "Oh, I messaged you. I email you." And then we said, "No, can we check what is your email address?" And then I checked online. And then he really messaged, but we didn't respond.
He
Right?
messaged,
He
but
messaged.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, he messaged because I checked. I said, what is your email ad?" So I checked his email ad on the search tab, in the tab search, and it was there, but we didn't able to respond. So now he says, "Oh, I wanted to stay here for 7 weeks," and then Darren said, 7 weeks? We cannot do that, And then he came out on a tricycle and walked. What do you call that? Wobble walk.
So he got out of the tricycle, and then he mentioned that he had come to the Philippines for 7 weeks, which I was flabbergasted. In fact, my flabber had never been so gasted.
So Terence said, no, we cannot do
possibly do that.
Because that's another thing that we need to consider is we don't know the person.
We didn't know.
And it's our community, so we don't know the background or anything, because it's different if you communicate to us and we got back and forth communication, right?
Well,
So,
it was at the time. We're not doing that anymore anyway now.
So we're open. That's why we got an Airbnb. So now, so I Terence said no, and then I talked to Terence and I said, "Look, he's very old. I think he cannot do harm." Right?
No, you didn't. You said, "Look at him. His legs are very wobbly."
Yeah. So in other words, it's the same.
And then you suggested that we put him up for 2 nights.
2 nights or 3 nights.
Which I agreed to.
Yeah.
And that began the Alfred saga.
Because Terence and him already talk, and then Terence said, "Oh, he's a good man," which is he is.
Well, he is.
He's really a good man,
It's a great shame that his hard-headedness and his way, he doesn't have any filters. That's the thing. It's one of those things, isn't it? If a husband says, or if a wife says to her husband, "Do you think this dress makes me fat? Do you think it makes me look fat?" And the husband doesn't have any filters, he'll say, "No, actually, it's the fat that makes you look fat." But if he's got filters, he'll say, "No, darling, I think the colour blue is not your colour. Why don't you try something else?"
So that's why. So
Alfred doesn't have any filters.
he's just true to himself, and that's where the drama started, the long drama.
Yes.
And now he married, right? So
And for those of you-
his health, he's not totally 100% healthy, but he's still good.
Well, it is a fascinating story because for all his hard-headedness and everything, I remember that we introduced him to Marie, and said, "Well, you could, because what we were concerned with at the time was that he was living in that house alone. He was now alone, and not to get too morbid, but we entertained the idea that it's possible that he might fall and not be able to get up, and it would be a bad ending. So we said, why don't you have Marie come as your housekeeper, and she'll cook and clean and do all of that. And he agreed to that in the end. And then, strangely enough, he went on, and in his way, he kept complaining, bitching about this and bitching about that. And then we met him in Alturas, in the supermarket. I think it was in the supermarket. He told us that Marie, he had to take Marie to hospital. I don't know what for, do you? Have you even stopped taking part in this
No,
video
I
now?
reply about the land. So yeah, so where we are.
So where we are, you don't even know, do you? We're talking about Alfred, remember? Yes, I'm
So-
talking about Marie. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
Okay, now you're back.
So don't worry, to those
No,
asking.
now you've gone into a completely different part of the story because you haven't been listening.
Yes.
Short attention span, 1.5 minutes, I think.
No 1.2.
So we met Alfred in Alturas after he had just taken Marie to hospital.
Okay.
You remember that part now? And you remember the part where he was very, very humble and he said, I've realized what it's like to be alone
He went to our house.
without Marie, if I may finish, without Marie. And he said, I'm going to the hospital now. This was very touching, actually, coming from Alfred. He said, I'm going to go and ask Marie if she will be my girlfriend. He said, and I hope more than anything that she will not say no. Which was almost like, it was like a romance story all rolled into one tiny little moment.
I think what other also people interested on Alfred, on the story of Alfred. Aside from he doesn't know somebody here and came to a foreign land without knowing where to
For
stay.
7 weeks
First,
with wobbly knees.
Another thing on that other fascinating about him is about his love life. He got
Do we want to tell about his love life?
No, his love life. He got a love life and then
He's got a love life.
and didn't
Skated out of that one
and-
quickly, didn't we? What?
he got a love life and then suddenly jump up on another love life and then it found he do online chatting, right? And he met the woman and then suddenly being not didn't work. In fact, I don't know how much he spent to those other women that she met in line in Manila, in Ubay, or I think Ubay, and in the island, in one of the island here in Talibon. So
No, just tell this one
something
story.
like that. So that's what
Just
other
tell this one
interested.
story because it is funny. He did meet someone online, and he brought the woman from
Manila. He paid
and
a lot.
the way that it ended was she was sitting in her room and she locked the door to the room. She locked the bedroom door, not his bedroom door. There's more than one bedroom, okay? So she's in her bedroom and she's sitting there on a couch. Now, she was actually quite a sexy looking, stylish fashionista, and I guess she had realized that good, bad or indifferent, Alfred was just not, it was not going to work out, and she didn't, I'm putting this together myself, she didn't know how to get out of it. So she locked the door and you're going to interrupt me, I know. This is the longest sentence you've ever allowed me. So she locked the door and she escaped out of the bedroom window. He doesn't have windows. He has old-fashioned wooden shutters. So the blank shutter comes down and bolts. That's what he has for windows. And she escapes by jumping out the window and running away.
That's the woman.
That was the other woman.
That's
And
the
she
other
was,
woman that bring his ATM, right?
yes,
Yeah,
something.
But the other woman, the one from Manila also,
That was the woman
that
from
is
Manila.
different because I think she got two two different women in Manila that she's paid back home, as far as I remember, if I'm correct. And the other one, he got a celebrated the birthday or welcome the woman. And I think the woman just realized about, just think about expectation versus reality, right? Because Alfred is a good looking in the picture, right? It's only that the way it just happened when you meet him in actual, he's very slim, right? So I think that's what the woman just didn't expect it.
I honestly think that Alfred at one time
Yeah, he's
would
a
have
good,
been a
he's a good,
handsome
yeah.
man.
Because
He's,
in the
he's
picture,
quite tall.
yeah, he's
He
tall.
would have been quite tall, but he had boned down. When you touch him on the shoulder,
He just
he's
need to
very,
eat,
very bony now.
he just need to eat a lot of rice.
You know, I'm just feeling my own shoulder and I'm getting a bit bony as well. Anyway, enough about
Yeah.
Alfred.
So Alfred is doing healthy. So don't worry. When Terence and Alfred met again,
He's doing okay.
yeah, he's healthy.
And we will try to attach the bond again with him. But the trouble is that he lives quite a long way away. It's quite a drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
How far? It's nearly 20k to Talabon,
So
and
maybe
then another
40,
20k
maybe 40 kilometer from our
right
place.
there and back. It's a long way to go.
Yeah, but the next time Terence and Alfred met, Terence will say what you're asking now.
Yeah,
Oh,
because he
sorry.
doesn't want videos.
Yeah. So have a great day. Thank you so much, and bye bye.